Well, hello everyone. Well, guess what? I have some projects on the honey-do list, and one of them is back in the bathroom. We found a pretty good deal on Marketplace for a vanity mirror in here that has a medicine chest that's recessed into the wall. So we're going to remove the mirror, and this is the cabinet. You can see it there. This is the cabinet. This isn't the whole thing. This is just the cabinet portion that's going to be recessed into the wall. There's a big oval mirror that goes on this. I just took it off because it's heavy, and I've got to do some work and get some measurements off of this before I reattach it. So that'll be the last step we do. So if you know anything about putting in a recessed medicine cabinet, this is just a flat mirror, so I'm going to have to take this down. It's just 4 screws. We'll take this off, and then I'm going to place this, and I need to center it left and right, up and down. And if you recall, this light fixture was facing down. I've rotated it up because the mirror is taller than this mirror. It's a 36-inch mirror by 24 inches wide. So it's a little bit narrower than this one. And it's oval, it's kind of football shaped, but it's taller. So I needed more clearance. So by flipping this light over, I gained a good 8 inches up there. And then we want to be able to take the stuff that's on this cabinet or this sink here, because this is a small area to work, and be able to put them inside the cabinet. So that's my next project. So I have not done one of these before. I did watch a few videos on it though, and it doesn't look too difficult. You just got to be careful when you're cutting the wall or the sheetrock out that you're not going to hit any wires or any plumbing. I know all the plumbing comes up through the floor, so I'm not concerned about plumbing. The shower plumbing is on this wall, so I won't be going into this wall. The electrical should just be going up and over, but I will be looking for that. In case I hit that, I'll have to fix it. But I'm thinking there's probably one stud that's right in the middle for this width, and I'll have to cut that. It's not a load-bearing wall, so I'll be able to cut that, and then I have to build a box, build a bracing box for this to attach to once it's inside the wall. So what this will do though is this will save some space. We gave $85 for this medicine cabinet. It's all aluminum with a mirror, with a real big, nice mirror that opens this way. And I believe it's listed, Home Depot sells it for about $145. So it's not normally one that we would do, but we came across this deal, and we think it'll enhance the bathroom and give us a little more storage space because it is so small in here. So I'll be taking this down, and I'll be getting some measurements and squaring this up before I do my cuts. Okay, so here's a little update as we're progressing along here. Can you see the outline of the rectangle? That's the part I'm going to cut out. It's been centered on the wall left and right, and from the bottom of the light to the top of the backsplash. Those dimensions are the dimensions of the back of the cabinet that is going inside the wall. So this is the back side of this cabinet, and so if you measure across here, I believe it's 14 inches, I forget what it is, and then 25 inches down. So you need a rectangular hole that's 14 across and 25 up and down. And now I've got a tool that I'm going to use. It's a very loud tool, so I'll spare you it's a reciprocating tool that's electric and is used for cutting sheetrock. And it's a tool I already had when we were doing the cabins in the campground. I kept that tool because it's nice for cutting sheetrock, and you never know when you're going to need a specialty tool. So I'll get busy with that, and we'll see what's behind this wall. The big mystery. Okay, we're continuing on with this cabinet install. Let me show you what I've done so far. So you may have noticed I've cut this board out, the 2x4 that was in the way. That's not a load-bearing wall. because this is a log cabin, all the load-bearing walls are horizontal on these big I-beams. So you don't have to worry about any load-bearing walls in here where there's sheetrock. So there was no electric, no plumbing. There is an electric box down there, as you can see. And I'll rotate the camera. And there's an electric box up there. But we're okay. We stay clear of those. So I cut this board out here. I repurposed that board right here because this is going to be the framing that's going to hold the medicine cabinet in place. So once I put the cabinet in place, I'm going to screw it to these boards. And the cabinet's not heavy. The mirrored glass that goes on the cabinet is pretty heavy. And it's going to swing this way, right to left. So, and the reason we did that is because it's a pretty wide mirror and it would hit this, but it'll clear this towel bar. So we thought swinging it to the left was better. It didn't really matter. So having cut this board, I cut it off flush right here because then the cabinet can sit on this board to support the weight. I made this board a little longer than the hole. It's like 30 inches versus the 25-inch opening, and that's just to give it a little more length for a little more stability because this side is going to be bearing the weight. This is really thick sheetrock though. This looks like the thicker stuff. So that's good. It's good and strong, but it's not holding a lot of weight. By the time it sits on this board and this gets screwed on, I mean, I could even put it would be kind of difficult because I'd have to shave this down. But to put a crossboard on here and then I wouldn't be able to screw it in. I mean, it would be hard. I could toenail it in, which is what carpenter's term used for screwing or nailing a board in on an angle from the side. That's called a toenail. Anyway, I've cleared this, got all this ready. I mean, really. I got a few more screws to put here. I just put one in there to hold the board, because I had to hold the board in place or it could fall down the hole. I'm going to show you what I do here, because I always do pre-drilling before I do drilling. See if the camera can sit right there. Okay, so I usually pre-drill, and I put 5 on this side, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I pre-drilled the holes, so I just kind of, you want to stay within a 1/4 inch, no more than a 1/2 inch on this lip, because when I put the cabinet up there, it's going to cover the holes. If you come too far out, you're going to come outside the margin of the box, and you're going to have to use putty and paint and get it to match, or else. And I've already got to do that. I've got the mirror holes here that are anchored in. I'm going to have to put a screw in them and then pull the anchors out. It's going to leave a big old hole. And then we'll have to patch it and paint it. And I think we have leftover paint and we have patching materials, so we can do that. It's not a hard job, it's actually very easy. So here I'm just going to pre-drill a couple more holes here. Okay, I am using sheetrock screws. Let's see, I need 4 of them. And they're pretty long. They're, I don't know how long, what, a couple inches? So they'll go into that board really good, halfway into the board. So you got some good steady. And being pre-drilled, that way you're not going to spin the nut, because these are Phillips head screws. If you do it too hard, you'll crack the sheetrock, and you don't want that. I cracked it just slightly right there on the left side. I could just back it out just a touch to relieve the stress, but as long as it's not cracked outside the outside edge, you'll be all right. You're not even going to see it. I want to show y'all something. This is the tool that did all the work, and this is the one where I had to go out and get more blades. And they had them at Walmart cheaper than Harbor Freight. You got one for wood, you got one for metal or wood. And then there were 2 more blades I didn't use, but I used these 2. It was $10 for the pack of 4, and they do different things. But these are the 2 I needed. I needed to cut that 2x4, and I needed to go behind that board and cut the drywall screws from the other side. So right behind this wall is the refrigerator. So you don't want to pierce that sheetrock, or you're going to be doing a repair on the other side. You could even damage yours. The coils are almost right up against the wall, right behind the sheetrock. So you don't want to be going in that way. You want to work, with the grain of the sheetrock. Now I did do a little surface damage here with the paper, getting these, because there's screws in there, and I had to cut them. And I had to feel down along the board with this. Now this is reciprocating. This is a very loud tool, by the way. I'll show you, so if you don't want to hear it, hold your ears. But it's very loud, and it reciprocates left and right super fast. And so you can cut wood at different angles. So I had to cut like this and like this. And what's really cool about this tool, this is such a versatile tool. This is the one thing I didn't sell. Is you can press this lever here, it releases the tool, and you can turn it and lock it in. So if you need to go on an angle to the left or to the right, it works all the way around. You see how it fits in there? I think that's pretty neat anyway. So maybe that's just me. Guy talk. The guys will like it. The girls will appreciate it. Anyway, so now I need to figure out, size up this box. I got some good mount, some good wood. I may have to trim right here. I did this one flush, except there's a little mound right here. So I'll use this saw and I'll trim this up flush. And then if I have to, I can go up to about 1/16 of an inch to the left. I did that on purpose, so if I need to trim this, I can, because down here it seems a lot wider than it is up here, so I may have to trim it. You don't want to over trim though. Here is going to stay where it is, and if I need to trim, I'll trim the top, because I cut this board on an angle going backwards. So if I need to trim here, I'll trim the top, and if I need to trim left to right, I'll trim this side. So that's the game plan. Let's see if it fits. If it needs to be trimmed, that's okay. I don't mind. If you cut it too big though, then you got a problem. But if you haven't trimmed enough, that's easy to fix. Yeah, I'm still hitting the board on this right side over here. Now if I tuck it in, let me see, I need to bring my head over here. Ooh. I think it went in actually. Hey, look at that. We're in. I'm not going to trim anything if it fits. Here we go. Okay, I can see a couple of mishaps already, and I'll show it to you. Let me take the camera off here and I'll show you. Alright, see how the screw sticks out a little bit? Right here. You won't see it with the window closed, with the mirror closed, because the mirror's not even on here. This is not the main mirror. This is just the inside cabinet. It has a mirror in it. It will cover that, but I was hoping this cabinet lip would cover it. And I came out just a little far, so I'll have to putty those up and paint them. But it's easy to do, because I got to fix these anyway. See these anchors? There's no covering those up. Those will have to come out and get puttied and fixed up. But we'll get all this done. So next, now that it's in there, I'm going to screw it into the board. I need to go get some screws because it's going to be a different type of screw. It's going to be a wood screw. And it needs to be good and sturdy because a heavy mirror is going to be hanging on this. But this project's almost done. I screw this in and then I hang my mirror and then we'll look at a finished product. Alright, looking good. Alrighty, we have a finished product. Excuse the ugly mug that's in the picture, but it's a mirror. I can't can't block it. There were some adaptations I had to do here. I had to do some modifications. So it says it's a completely recessed cabinet, but if you completely recess it, the door won't open. The hinge will hit the wall because of the back swing on the mirror, the way it's mounted. So you have to come off the wall about a half an inch. And you'll see kind of that's what I did. I came off half an inch. And I went back on the reviews of this product. Most people gave it a 4 or 5 because they liked the way it looked. But they also noticed that it was marked as a recessed mounted mirror. And you can't completely recess it. It has to be off. It has to be out of the hole about a half an inch, or else the door wouldn't open. So the door opens, and it works. Other complaints were the magnet too, that the magnet doesn't hold real well. I'm okay with that as long as the door closes and stays closed. I can hear it click. It's just a slight pull to open, and it's nothing major. I think it looks good overall. I wouldn't have paid retail price for this mirror just because it doesn't recess all the way into the wall. But you don't really notice it when you're looking at it. I mean, even you can't look at it from the side really because it's such a small space. But I think it was a good purchase for 85 bucks. And it was a pretty easy install. There was just some readjusting there at the end, but it was nothing difficult. Anyway, if you guys like how it looks, you don't like it, let me know in the comments. We appreciate it. Another DIY here at the cabin. Madam Mayor's Adventures. On to the next one. Okay, look, we're back in the bathroom again. And we installed this medicine cabinet. And remember we needed to go back and get these wall anchors out so we can putty them. So we found some of this stuff in an estate sale. Actually, I think we only paid about $3 for it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the color. You put it on and it changes colors, and in 25 minutes it's supposed to be dry enough to paint. So that's why I like this stuff. This will cost you about $10 in the kit, and this came in a small kit, but a patch kit. But we're just going to be using the putty for this project. There's a couple of ways. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so I can kind of show it to you. Okay, you see that screw I've stuck in there? What I do is I thread a screw into these wall anchors and put it in a good little ways so it's got bite. And then I'm hoping this won't leave too big a hole, but then you grab it with a pair of pliers and grab it real firmly. Oh, that pulled right out. So easy. Oh my goodness. So that's what we'll do to get those out. I didn't know. Sometimes these are barbed and you don't know how much wall is going to be pulled out when you pull it out. But that's all you do. And you just take the screw and use it on the next one, and you do the same thing. I've got 2 on the bottom, and then up top I got 2 up top. I got 1 there and then one on this side. So I'm going to be doing the same things to all 4, and then I'm going to take the spackle and using this putty knife. Let me back out here. Using this putty knife, you just fill the hole in and smooth it off, and you wait for it to change colors, and then it's ready to paint. You can also take a piece of sandpaper that comes in the kit and buff it out to smooth it out if you need to. So that's the process. I'll go ahead and get these other 4 done, and after I've got them all spackled, I'll show you what they look like. I've got all the wall anchors out, and I've opened up the spackle kit. And I'm going to just use my finger to start with. The holes are not that big, but you can fill them really easy with your finger. Just take a little bit and go like that. Oop, there we go. It's a little easier than a spatula. I'll do that with all 4, and then I'll take this and go over it. and it gets it nice and smooth. And then this pink will change to white, and when it turns white, that means it's ready to paint. So that's what's neat about this. I don't know that I'll even be painting it today. I might, but it's very easy to do. You can see I just pulled the wall anchors out using a screw and a pair of pliers. You just it's kind of like toothpaste. In fact, small holes you can use toothpaste, but these are a little bit bigger. You got to fill them in. And just kind of use your finger and fill the hole, and then take something like a spatula and just scrape it off. Put the excess back in the tub there, and do the same thing with the other holes, and that's it. And then it's ready to paint.